Right, I think I've had an epiphany. I think I'm building Melody wrong. Yeah. Still, there's still a decent chunk of time till we see the rest of the cards. And I would assume there's better ways to tie songs together, right, than what I'm trying to set up. Okay, just to go over it once more, right? Start off with gold. You have cash out to generate silver. High Striker seems pretty hard to land. Maybe combo it with Final Act. But the big thing is cash in counts or can be utilized similar to using copper, right? Because there's draw 2. It's still -1. You combo it with silver or gold, then it becomes a neutral, right, in terms of draw. Same with Tome, but Tome does not go again, right? Cash in is a big one because you can pitch 2, so you can stack up the pile, right? So off of gold is 2. So you pitch 2, you have 1 floating, you draw 1 card, right? You're at 5, use cash in, you pitch 1, play cash in, you're still at 5 because you draw 2 more. Perfect, right? So gold into cash in is neutral. Okay, silver would be a -1 sometime, depending on how you float the resources, right? But there are ways to set up the pitch outside of just getting to that 9 copper interval, right? So again, I think that makes it more feasible. But, right, I think what you really want to do is just try to hammer home Final Act over and over again, right? I was sort of discrediting the usefulness of Encore, right? Because it's to your hand, which is better than a lot of graveyard return, right? Where it puts it to just into your deck or onto the top of your deck, I want to say, right? If we look at graveyard, what do we have? We have put a non-attack action card, so it would be useful for a song, but it's red, so I don't really like it. Memorial Ground blue should be fine, right? Because it's a 0. No, it's 0. Final Act is 1. So you have to use Memorial Ground yellow, right, to return an attack action card to the top of your deck. Again, it's 9 to your hand. So I think Encore is definitely part of the strategy. Put an attack action card with 0 cost from the graveyard, top of its own deck at the end phase, draw a card. Strategic planning could be useful. Again, you probably have to run the yellow variant, right, so you can get Final Act. But I think, yeah, just trying to cycle Final Act over and over again is where things really shine. The issue is, right, finding Final Act, because it's 2 cards out of your 40, right? So that makes it pretty hard to pull off regularly. Let me prune the deck and we'll try and rebuild it, again, centering around just trying to Final Act over and over again. Because the other thing is, how many cards you have to get into your pitch to make Final Act worth it, right? That's something to think about. In most cases, 3, right? And that seems pretty insane, but then you think about everything else you can do with your turn using 3, right? From proccing equipment, from playing something else, from, buffing Final Act, or even, you pitch 2 cards, right? Final Act is now 1 for 5, right? You still have another card to play to buff it, something in your arsenal. There's other ways around it. I think the real glue is just recycling Final Act, right? In terms of copper generation, I think it's another thing worth noting, or, making sure it's here at the beginning, where the majority of people watch to. Okay, so smash it. You can use 3 to generate copper, and then your song, so you can generate 2 copper a turn. So realistically, between the gold and, generating copper, you're probably aiming for 4 to 5 turns as setup, right? Which is pretty hard in Blitz off of a combo deck, but you are also able to use the majority of your hand just to defend, right? So if you're just holding on to a song to play, and 1 card to pitch, I suppose, even though you could probably just get away with either playing the song or just pitching 1 blue into Jinglewood and really turtle it, right? So you could block with 3 cards plus 1 in your arsenal if you have a defense reaction. So you're looking at like 9 to 12 you can defend for every round, which, is somewhat decent against a lot of setups. And then if you run the Null Rune like I am, right, you have some level of arcane barrier, right, to prevent wizard matchups and anyone else like that. I think Illusionist would be the big hurdle because you don't really have a popper. But yeah, let me try to reorganize the deck a little bit. So one consideration I am sort of thinking about is if you run all the copies of High Striker, right, you can sort of make it a cascade of damage, or cascade of turns, if you will, right off of Final Act. So if you can get the first one to pop High Striker, then you have the copper for the next one, and so forth and so on. But again, the big thing is just going to be how you recycle Final Act, or if there is a proper way to chain songs together, right? So it is pretty dependent on what other cards get revealed for Melody, if there are any, in fact. But there are some other niche things, like Interlude. You could attack your opponent and then use Interlude to prevent the damage, right, to generate a copper token. it seems kind of bad for one, but 0 for 3 is actually kind of nice as an instant, right? So yeah, that's good to run. Lead the Charge is one way to chain songs together. If you don't want to use it on songs, but just final act, you could get rid of the red and use the yellow. Similarly with Strategic Planning, Remembrance, Memorial Ground, these are all drawbacks, but same, they have that sort of requirement. Cost 1 or less from your graveyard. If you're just using it to cycle songs, now that's a different story. So you might, just run the blue variants, right? Which is a little bit better. Does Strategic Planning have 3 block, right, on the blue? No, so it's 2. But yeah, you can use it to cycle back a song, which is decent, right? Means you can set up your song for your next turn so that you can generate copper. Again, the big thing is just going to be how defensive you can get Melody to be, right, to stall out for final act, or right, how easy it is for you to find final act and then chain it together to, again, just use this as your main attack every round, right? Just need some copper, some gold to get going. Again, cash in is basically equivalent because it's draw 2. Cash out to generate silver off of equipment. This is also another big what if, right? Because if Bright Lights comes out and the majority of items that they're going to introduce, because we already know it's going to be, item filled, right? We have that line, could be great, right? If they make items more usable across the board, right, that would be great, because cash out, you could run 2 copies, use it to pop other non-token items you control, and yeah, create a ton of silver. Heck, that might be a play, is just a ton of potions. But again, I hate how potions have a 1-turn setup, right? It seems so horrible. I would much rather them actually cost something, right? Or even just have a clause on them being you can't use it the same turn you put it out, but still have go again. I just think it's so ineffective to throw out a potion unless you have attacks with go again. But again, not every class wants to do that. The majority of classes want to throw out one big attack, right? And it would be great if you could just set up a potion for your next turn, but you can't, right? So I'm hoping that we get some decent utility towards the items. Knick Knack Bric-a-Brac is additional cost. No, this is the reverse, destroy any, and then you may put items. What is it? For each 4/2 or gold, you can repeat Amulet Potion or Talisman's name. Nah. So if there's Amulet Potion and Talisman, right, that would be fantastic. And you could use that to go positive with cash out. But obviously they built around not being able to do that. So yeah, shame. But yeah, potions and talismans, right? That might be the other way to run Melody. Just songs, potions, talismans. Again, potions are kind of worse. I'm pretty sure talismans are too, because you don't have any block on them, right? So you don't want to run them, in all honesty. Some of them have go again, which is great. Actually, all the talismans do, which is kind of nice, right? Take all the blue ones, you can just throw them into the arena and then use cash out, right? At the beginning of your end phase, if you have less, no. So that's, yeah, they all have automatic triggers, which is not good. Right, I guess Talisman and Tights. If your opponent would draw 1 or more cards during your action phase instead of destroy, might be worth it. When your attack you control gains exactly 1, so that you could burn with cash out. What about this one? Whenever you pitch a card, if you'd gain exactly 1, destroy it and gain 3. You could use that. Right, you'd have to play around so many of these aspects. Even like the Spell Void. And I don't think that'd be worth it to set up just to destroy with cash out. Right. Well, you could run a bunch of them. Turn 1, if you draw 4, right? Just stick 4 talismans into the arena, hope for a cash out, and then gain the silver. I mean, here's the thing. I can definitely do this in a meme sense, right? Just go for broke, and you just have to draw into the perfect line, and then you get a massive final act off. And that's fun to me. But I would like some sense of viability. Yeah, talismans might be the go. Anyway, I don't think anything else to add, right? Again, I'm probably going to follow Melody quite closely. Hopefully we get some spoilers. Right, where are we at? We're first week of September, so it's still a fair few until we get her in all her glory. I'm going to have to find the Call for promo here in Australia. It's going to be hard. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Let me know. Tips, opinions. Don't do this. I'll take that too. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.